Okay, righto. Hi there. My name's Nick, and although I'm frequently called weird, odd, and occasionally crazy, I'm actually just autistic and also have ADHD. Today's question is, does autism get worse as you get older? Well, no, of course it doesn't. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. It is not an illness. There is no cure other than having a brain transplant. And we don't do those because they'd be like doing entire people transplants. That's not going to work. So why is it that we can seem to become more autistic as we age? Speaking for myself, I think it's a combination of acceptance and exhaustion, being too exhausted to hide it. By acceptance, I mean so that's what it is. I'm not completely bonkers. I'm not a danger to humanity. I'm not an alien life form. I'm just autistic. And although I'm relatively recently diagnosed, my overall feeling is still one of relief. And, well, that just makes so much sense. How come that wasn't worked out before? And I think from this feeling of self-acceptance, there's really no desire for me to, keep it a secret. Because there's no shame in being autistic. This means that I can sort of relax into it, as it were, stop holding back on my natural behaviours. If I don't want to force myself into eye contact with someone, well, then I don't have to. If I need to stim or twist myself into unusual positions, I can. And stuff it, I will. I know that at times my language is a little odd, but now instead of stressing about it and putting myself under pressure so much, I'm giving myself permission to just shrug it off as part of who I am. It is a natural part of me, and basically stuff it if you don't like it. And I'm not being rude to anyone, but I'm not trying to tell you who to be. So if someone I'm conversing with seems a little bit bemused by my behaviour, I'll just now be upfront. I no longer apologise for it. I just say, I'm autistic. How they take that statement is entirely up to them. It is not my responsibility. If they are interested, if they ask me questions, I will then answer to the best of my ability. And it is only to the best of my ability at this point, because although I've always been autistic, I've only recently discovered this fact. So I'm still in the process of learning about my own differences and what they are and why. The second thing is the sheer exhaustion that comes from masking. And masking is something that's been done for absolutely decades, to the point that, I don't even realise I'm masking. Because it's been done for so long. How can you know? So I'm still in the process of adjusting to the fact that for many, many years I was tough and I was able to push through all these situations. I would force myself to interact. I'd force myself to smile and carry on and work and perform to achieve what was, a satisfactory semblance of normality. But it was never me. I'm still me, but having to drag myself into being something that I thought was more acceptable and twist myself, that is exhausting. I didn't used to give myself much time out. It would become too much. And sometimes when that happened, I would be crying and screaming and shouting and losing control. Other times I'd just totally shut down and not be able to move, not being able to speak. I'd just become this mute lump on the ground. I never understood any of this. Now I do. After I crashed out, I get up and get right back into it. Keep on going, over and over. Until one day I couldn't do that anymore. One day there was no more capacity left to do that. And I would beat myself up for not having the resilience to continue with day-to-day things. I've now come to accept that I don't have that resilience. I don't have that capacity. And I have to space and pace myself to do the simplest of things. And I have to now learn to be a lot more gentle on myself about it. Now, as an example, I had a more than usual social week recently. I don't really socialise, but the week or so ago, it just unfolded. I talk daily on the phone or in person to one friend. That's not a stressor. That's all good. He's fully accepting of where I am and very supportive. But I had to make 2 phone calls in 2 days. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, does it? 2 phone calls in 2 days to 2 different people. And following on from those phone calls, I actually had to meet those 2 people in person. I like this person. One's a reasonably good friend. The other is a really nice lady that lives in town. So the first friend came here for a cuppa on Tuesday, was only here for an hour or so. And then on Wednesday, I went and visited the other lady myself for a short time. The next day, I needed to pick up something from a shop in the suburbs. Now, I can't drive there, so I need to arrange for a friend to drive me there. Because I didn't want to spend much time in the shop because I was already feeling pretty damn tired from the previous couple of days, I purchased the item online and arranged just for this whole click and collect thing. I was so worn out by the end of this 5-day period of, just day-to-day stuff that I barely had any energy to do anything else. I needed quiet time on the couch. I could cook tea. I took my dogs for shorter than usual walks. I didn't indulge too much in conversation with my friend who'd come up to stay. But he understands this now. My autism is not worse, but my recovery time between stimulating events now needs to be longer. I don't have the capacity that I used to have for a quick recovery. And I don't have anything left in the tank to try and hide these differences from others. And now that I've got acceptance, I don't feel that I should necessarily hide my needs from others. I think it's okay to say, I need my time out. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps you understand a little bit more. Be well.